to another edition of Jags Live, presented by Eco South Services. Jason Crabtree, Pat Greenwood down here. We're coming down the home stretch of this thing.
Crazy. This is our second to last show because we're not going to have a show next Wednesday.
It is. We've got men's basketball on the road at Jacksonville State. Same day, same time. So be kind of a hard conflict there to squeeze in the show on top of tip-off. But we won't have a show next week. We'll be back at it. We will have a show the night before Thanksgiving, so we can you can bring your in-laws and everybody else in town for the final show
night
of the
before
season.
Thanksgiving. I forgot about that.
Yes, so you can bring everybody down here to walk-ons one final time. Not next week, but the week after. But Walk-On's been great partners with us. We've enjoyed having everybody down here to celebrate all things Jags, and we'll do it again here tonight. And good to be talking some football again here this weekend.
I mean, look, the reset button was nice, and we've had a chance to obviously to do some football. Some basketball, men's and women's, soccer, volleyball. Yeah, we've had our plates full, but. I got out to football practice yesterday, and I was like, man, I forgot how much I missed this.
Yeah.
This is my time. So I'm psyched to have football back. 3 more games to go, and let's go finish strong, man.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see what happens up in Monroe this weekend because they're a team that's still bowl eligible.
Yep.
So we got a chance to knock that out of them, which would really hurt my feelings.
It would not hurt mine.
We're going to see some familiar faces up there.
Yep.
As always, I think we're a better team than they are. But we've got to put some things together, not hurt ourselves. And again, I think we're capable of beating anybody. And I know I've said it all year long.
We were joking in the office the other day that the weather initially did not look great for you because you'll be back on the radio side with us, back on the sidelines here this weekend. So we're joking, finally, Pat gets a bad weather day. No, it looks great now.
I've got some pull. Talk to the weather people and said to get that rain out of here. So, no, it's going to be a beautiful night or a beautiful afternoon. It's a 2:30 kickoff. I think in the 80s, lower 80s, and I think 68, 67, something like that is the low. So I might even have short sleeves the entire time. I'm going to bring some long sleeves just in case, but it's going to be great weather. And good old Malone Stadium is waiting for us.
Malone Stadium. I'll bring the Raid spray for the Wasps up in the booth. Anyway, we'll have plenty of football to talk about. The specialists are down here with us. We'll talk with them here in just a bit. We'll recap a little bit about what's been going on elsewhere in South Alabama Athletics. We've had a ton of basketball over the last 6 days since we last had a show last week. And we've had some crazy games like the men's basketball win over Alcorn, which was just a wild, wild game last Thursday. But before we even tip that thing off, we got to drop a banner in the Mitchell Center. That was a really cool moment.
Yeah, that's cool. Look, yes, was it a share of the conference championship? Yes.
Sure.
Four teams had the ability to say that they were conference champions. So why not celebrate it?
Yeah.
Right? Why not put it on a banner? And I thought our behind-the-scenes team, the fan engagement team, I thought they all did a fantastic job of creating that. They had the black banner that they dropped and the spotlight and the lights were off. I thought it was very well done. And always cool to see a recent year put up on a banner.
Yes.
It's been a long time since we were able to say that we had a share, if nothing else, of a conference championship. So absolutely celebrate it when you can.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the first banner we've been able to drop up there since 2008. So
Yeah.
that was great to be able to add that to the rafters last week against Alcorn. And, man, we talked about it going into that game. We knew they were going to be good. They played well against Florida State last week, last Tuesday I think it was. And, man, they gave us all we could handle last week.
Well, they ran out of gas against Florida State with about 15 to 17 minutes left in the the second half. They ran out of gas against us with about 3 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
They were shooting the ball well. It's not that we were playing poorly because I thought we played very good basketball, but they were shooting the ball well. Their length, their athleticism caused some issues. But at the end of the day, when we needed to fight back and get a win, we actually did it, and it was very exciting. We had a great crowd for that Alcorn game. And that was obviously our home opener, and the crowd got into it, and it was a fun game. And then you follow that with what we expected would be a blowout against Spring Hill, and it was. They took care of Spring Hill pretty handily. Two missed free throws at the end, took us away from triple digits. But you put 99 points against somebody, I don't care what level they play, that's always a good thing. So, I think the men's basketball team is right where they want to be right now. Should be interesting to see, though, as they're going to have a long road trip starting tomorrow morning.
Yes, so the team left yesterday. They're down in St. Pete right now. They're going to play a 10 a.m. Central Time tip Thursday morning against Central Michigan as part of the showdown in St. Pete. because of our travel duties with football coming up this weekend. Obviously, I'm not down there in St. Pete right now.
Clearly.
I'm not coming to you from the hotel room. I'm down at Walk-Ons. But because of that, we have no radio coverage. However, there is a free video stream of the game on Saturday and tomorrow on Thursday at 10 a.m. It's free, so you can go catch it over there. And actually, you'll hear a familiar voice doing color for the game. It's actually our former assistant coach, Nima Omidvar, who is going to be doing color on the broadcast along with Rocco Miller. So it'd be cool to hear Nima. I don't think he's ever done broadcast before, but the man loves to talk, so I'm sure he can fill the time just fine.
Well, I know they reached out to us. You ask all the pertinent questions. Do you have an institutional spot, a 30-second commercial that you can plug? Do you have anything else you want to plug in the broadcast? So, I'm interested to see it. I've got to serve actually on a communications department panel tomorrow during the game, so I don't know if I'll get a chance to. I'm hoping they have it archived somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I want to, I certainly want to watch it and cut some highlights too if we win. But no, just the fact that it's going to be available. It's not going to cost you anything to be able to watch us play. Don't tell your boss if you're at work and you're going to have that window open and you can actually see the game.
Just turn that second monitor away from the door.
So, but no, it'll be interesting to see how we respond. We've got a couple of wins under our belt now. 1 on the road, 2 at home. So we're not home again until December 14th. Yeah. So, let's see how we do.
Some long road trips ahead, so best of luck to the men's team. Women's basketball, you mentioned that the men almost put up 100 on Spring Hill. The women's team almost put up 100 on the road at UAB this past weekend. They won 91-68 was the final. It was a 2-point game at halftime, and they just really put it on in the second half.
And they played very well in the second half. And UAB, I think, was playing a little over their skill level in that first half, and then things kind of evened out. Unfortunately, last night they came home and played another American Conference team in Memphis. And Memphis, I'll tell you, gave the blueprint of what do you want to do early on against this women's basketball team. And they pressured 94 feet, got us off our game for sure. And, we would make some runs and get back in it within 5, within 4, and then it would just spread back out. And so I think that I don't remember the final score, 76-68 maybe is what comes to my head. But, again, that's a Memphis team who their leading scorer coming into yesterday had scored 2 points, period. And she put up 25 yesterday. Yeah. But 2 stats, I think, for the women's team that clearly need to change. We committed 28 fouls. We committed 30 turnovers. Yep. You're not going to beat anybody. I don't care if you're playing Spring Hill or you're playing UCLA. You're not, with those numbers, you're not going to play with a lot of people. And the fact is, it was an 8-point game despite those 2 stats. So clean those things up. I think the women's team marked improvement from what we're used to. But we'll see what they do. They actually have a game Friday morning, 11 a.m. against North Florida. And it's a North Florida team that played Tulane today, so we got a chance to see them. But they played Tulane without their top player. So I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game come Friday morning.
And if you haven't made it out to an 11 a.m. kids game, it's the education game. We've got nearly 3,000 local elementary school kids in attendance for the game coming up on Friday at 11 a.m. If you're planning to attend, pack some earplugs.
Or sit up top.
Or sit up top.
I would sit up top.
It is loud.
It is very loud, and it's one of those constant roars.
Yes.
It's not, it's going to get loud when we make a basket. It's going to get loud when we dribble.
Yes.
It's going to get loud when they dribble. They're not necessarily understanding what's happening with the
They don't
game.
care
They don't
what
care.
jersey. They just want to see a good game.
All they know is they're out of school, the concession stand's open, and they have a good time. And so that's the point.
I'm sure they're all itching for the score at some point to hit 67 points.
We actually have something prepared on the broadcast because.
Oh, okay. Look at you guys.
Yes, I was unaware that was. I mean, I had heard the 67 thing, but I didn't realize it was that big of a deal. But apparently, it happened today when Tulane played North Florida, and the kids went nuts. Yep. So we're expecting somebody to hit 67 points, and they're going to go nuts. So we actually are prepared.
You're prepared
on the broadcast. You guys. Yes.
Well. If the broadcast looks a little wonky from a corner camera angle, that's my fault because your crew is students and they've got something called class at 11 a.m.
We didn't come here to play no school.
That's right, Cardale Jones.
So we have to dip into the reserves, and you're going to actually run a camera.
I'm running a camera. Charlie Harrison is the video board switcher for the replays in the arena. So we're just piecing it together, man. We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
I'm going to make sure and call you out on the broadcast.
Oh, please do. You
go.
called me out Saturday for not catching the ball.
Well,
so.
but that thing came right at you.
I olayed the thing.
And yeah, it was a horrific effort.
I was
absolutely horrific effort.
Just peak Roger Dorn at third base, just giving that thing the old olay.
Yeah, it was not good.
I was just trying to protect the gear, and that's for me. That's good enough. The $4,000 codec is not smashed by a basketball. But I was actually
you got to make the stop.
I was actually wearing it from some fans around us too. They're like, "That's it. That's you. That's right to you." Anyway, the radio broadcaster at Texas A&M shot me a Facebook message. She was like, "It was right to you. You're wide open." I was like, I know, guys. I know.
That's why you're the radio guy.
Yes, that's why I sit there and talk about it. That's why I don't run around the court anymore. All right, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, Eric Ponio, assistant coach for South Alabama, will join us to talk some special teams. It's Jags Live presented by Eco South Services. We are coming right back. All right, let's talk some football now. We haven't done that in a couple of weeks now because it's been on the bye week. So it's nice to actually talk some football again, back to our usual rotation here on the show. And joining us now, assistant coach working with the specialist, Eric Ponio. Coach, good to see you. Thanks for coming down here.
Good seeing you guys. Thank you for having me on.
It's obviously a bye week last week, and so a little bit longer to get ready for this weekend against ULM. Just how's the energy been around the guys?
It's been good. Obviously in Mobile, you guys have been here, but it was a little chilly on Monday and Tuesday, and those guys had good energy out there, which is good. Obviously with our record, it's hard to get those guys going, but really good to see those guys coming out to practice on Monday and Tuesday today. Obviously we'll get in the stadium tomorrow, and it'll be a little bit warmer, but the energy's been pretty good.
And the bye week, you get to hit the reset button. Whether it's health, whether it's just mental, how have they done with the reset button and getting back into what we need to do for the Saturday?
I think it's always good just, going 9 weeks and just, getting away from the game and not going, 9 straight weeks, just getting away from football, watching on Saturday, just relaxing. We use that bye week, to just get some younger guys going, which has been good. And obviously, we still got red shirt rules. I do like the new rule change. It's been around for the last couple of years, just using guys with 4 games. And you look at guys like Savion and Deuce, that can contribute on defense and special teams.
Right.
And, with Trey Stevenson and guys that we, want to get them better throughout the season, and this way they're able to perform the last couple games. So
what you're saying is our 2-deep chart that we usually have going in, it better be 3 and 4 and 5 deep at this point.
Yeah, and you and you still got that 72 travel roster too.
Right.
So we talked about that today. We'll finalize it tomorrow, and you still you can't bring everyone. But yeah, there's going to be some different faces just to see some of those young guys, see what they can do and contribute to the team. So.
Before we get talking into more of this weekend and whatnot for South Alabama, can you talk to us a little bit about your football journey and your background, how you got to South Alabama?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Chicago. I had the opportunity. I got to thank my brother for this. He walked on at Wisconsin my senior year of high school. He coached Brett Bielema. That's where I was going to go. He was at Wisconsin. It was in December, January. Went to Arkansas, and my dad I got home from school one day. He said, "Hey, what about Arkansas?" So called Coach Bielema, had the opportunity to walk on there, played there for a couple years, and then became a student assistant. Actually started, on the defense side of the ball coaching. I played offense, coached on the defense side of the ball, was there for a couple years, student assistant GA. Then I had the opportunity, to go over to Liberty. There's a guy, Tanner Burns. We were at Arkansas together for 7-8 years. And we were one of the few holdovers from the Brett Bielema staff to the Chad Morris staff. So I was on there for 1 year, and then he said, "Hey, I'm going to Liberty with Coach Freeze, and I want you to be my assistant." So I went to Liberty for 3 years. Was on the defense side of the ball there. Worked with special teams with him, kind of his right-hand man. And then, I've been here. This is my 4th season going on here. Wanted the opportunity, to get back on offense, just kind of do all 3. Was on defense, was on special teams, just trying to find value and just keep learning every side of the ball. I knew Coach Batoon. He was at Liberty for a year. Kind of had the connection. Coach Kane Womack, he worked for Freeze. So there's a few connections there. And, I was able to come over here and work on offense under Coach Applewhite. Worked with the quarterbacks for 2 years under him. And then, when he got the head job, he said, "Hey, I know you're involved with special teams around here. I know you've done it in the past. What's your thought on working?" I'm like, "Absolutely, let's do it. Whatever you want me to do, Coach, I'll do." So that's kind of how I ended up, at South Alabama, so Chicago to Virginia to Arkansas or to Mobile, Alabama. So
there's always this roundabout route to get to where you are. What do you like the most? If you had to say, okay, this is the type of coach I want to be, or this is where I want to go, or this is what I want to do. What have you enjoyed the most?
You talking about Mobile or just Coach Applewhite?
Or just coaching, like what position, or ultimately as a head coach, is that what you'd like to do?
Yeah, I think that's everyone's goal. I like offense just because I played it the most. It just comes more natural to me, but it's great to learn the defense side of the ball and just see how they fit gaps in the run game and coverages and all that. So I've always enjoyed offense a little bit more than defense because you can kind of attack and not defend
react.
everything. Yeah. So, but I really do like special teams a lot. It's one of those things. Obviously I get to work with these guys, the specialists, every day. But it starts 7:15. The first thing we got is special teams meeting, and it's time to work with the whole team. So I get to work with the receivers. Just basically everyone with the O-line. They come in and protect for field goal, but. It's a great opportunity to go work with those guys, any position on the team. So it's kind of cool. You kind of got a relationship, with everyone on the team. So, but I really do enjoy special teams.
Special teams there's a lot of nuance to it. A lot of people just see on the outside, oh, you stand there and wait for a kick on return, or you go out there and kick a ball every now and then. There's a lot of nuance to it, right?
Yeah, just a lot of, just those one-offs. Just, hey, are they going to run a fake punt? They're going to surprise onside. You got to have great eyes, just on those units. And, we try to be pretty, not hesitant of rushing the punt, but we got eyes on that ball at all times. So we'll lack a little bit, with the hold-up and those kind of things. But you just got to see everything because there's so many different, rules that rules that you never heard of that pop up, like the free kick and all that. 20-yard line. It's a whole different situation. So, it's the same thing as offense. You got third down, you got red zone, you got goal line, you got short yardage, 3rd and 1, 3rd and long. So there's some of that in special teams, and there's 4 different units, obviously with field goal and field goal block. But, those 4 core, there's all a situation to all 4 of those.
You mentioned their surprise onside. We pulled one of those this year, and I don't care what the officials at
that
North
was
Texas
a terrible
said.
call.
Yeah, looked like we were on, but we won't put you in that situation because we know as a coach you can't talk about that stuff. But I want to ask you just kind of take us through the thought process of making that call. Did you guys see something in film beforehand that said, hey, this might work for us, or was it just a spot of, hey, we need a jolt, let's try this?
It's one of those things we practice every week. You always kind of want to have in your hip pocket, like, hey, if they're going to give it to us, we got it. We practice it every week. Just talking as a coaching staff and, talking with coach, like, hey, we're going to need this. They score a lot of points. We want to keep their offense off the field. Saw the opportunity there on film. I saw it on the first one, and I said, hey, coach, it's there. Just let me know. And we talked about it on Thursday. We'll do it in the 3rd quarter. Right after we scored a touchdown, that's exactly when we did it. Called it. I said, Coach, good with it? And he goes, I didn't come here to lose. Let's roll.
I like it.
We called it, and, it's just unfortunate that it happened. And, you just got to, referees are going to call things like that. And, I don't want to get too far into it, but was it close? We made it too close. We made it too close for them to call it, and it was just unfortunate because it changed the game. It changed the game, and we had to go re-kick off, and they got a big return on us. We weren't able to regroup, and that was the disappointing part, just not being able to regroup and go cover that next kickoff.
And how many plays do you have, though? Because whether it's whether it's a punt, whether it's a fake field goal, or how many? Because you're working on stuff from day one. Would you say there's 10 plays that you're working on that you may call 1 or 2 per season?
We go into kickoff kind of with 3 different game plans. KOR, we're always going to have a fielder boundary. Punt return, you got your hold-up look, and you got your rush look. Punt's the one you got to spend the most time on because it's a different play. You got a lot of defensive guys on there, and it's a protection. So we kind of teach it as like a pass protection. We've been really sound in our protection. That's the one you got to work, all the different looks and, what if. Because, at the end of the day, you got a D lineman out there playing quarterback and talking and getting those guys in the right spot. So they got to be able – you got to have a trustworthy guy out there. And Tyler Thomas does a great job. Trent does a great job. Got a few other guys, just in case something happens. But that's the one you got to spend the most time on. And obviously it's game by game. If a team's doing a bunch of different stuff, like you'll see this week on Monroe's kickoff, they hit the ball over the field. Got to work on that one a little bit more. So it depends how complex they are. That's where you got to work the most. So
you mentioned you got the Thomas brothers back there as part of our Shield on punt team. Was that just coincidence?
No, Trent started on it last year, and Tyler was always a backup, and then obviously Todd Justice was there last year, and Trent moved over and Tyler moved over, and those are guys you trust. And I love those two, man. They come to work every day. They don't say much. but they do exactly what you want. So.
Before we get you out of here, let's talk about the two student athletes we got down here with us, Anthony Zaccaro and Alexi Polkinen. Just how about those dudes?
Yeah, so Zaccaro, he's been here about as long as I have. He's been here for 4 years, and he's gotten so much better just in his last 4 years, and that's what you want. I mean, it's hard to come in. Obviously, he came from Old Dominion. It's hard to come in and anywhere where you go and play as a young buck. He earned his way. He didn't start the first couple of years. He earned his way, and he's a good player for us. So I'm really happy where he's at. He's going to be very successful in life, just the type of person he is and how he comes to work every day. And then Alexi, obviously, he's a little bit older. He's from Finland. Just seeing the look in his eye when he came back in January, he wasn't too happy with his performance last year, but he's one of the hardest working dudes in the room, and he wants to be really, really good. He wants to be really, really good, and that's what I love about him, just coming to work every day and trying to be his best and just trying to get those other guys. Like he works too much sometimes, and that's sometimes it can be bad. Got to slow him down, but it's not the lack of. So
that's awesome. Eric Ponio, assistant coach for South Alabama, joined us here down at Walk-Ons. Coach, appreciate your time, and let's go get out there this weekend.
Yeah, really appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, thanks, Coach. Yep. We'll take quick timeouts. Specialists, the student athletes, in fact, will join us here when we come back. All right, let's talk about the guys who seemingly have the most fun on the football team, right? Special teams guys. Long snapper Anthony Zaccaro, punter Alexi Polkinen joining us now. You boys are popular down here.
Yes.
You guys have your little crowd for you. That's nice.
Yeah, for sure. We got good fans down here.
Well, let's talk about, you guys had a week off, or a bye week, a week where you weren't playing an opponent. It wasn't off because you guys were out there working.
Yes, sir.
But just what did you guys focus on last week?
I would say it was a big fundamental week. Focus on the little things that not been going so good during the season and just try to work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just, when you have a bye week, you just get to get that extra time to work in things that, you need to improve on, and it also gives you that extra time to prepare for the next game, but it definitely is something we take advantage of for sure.
Anthony, you just seem to have fun everywhere you go. I mean, is that? I know I see it on the football field. We see it in practice. We see it walking on the plane, walking on the bus. Is that just how you live your life? I mean, or are you putting on a show here?
Nah, just how I live my life. Coach Pony always jokes about it, saying if there's a camera, I'm going to be there. So, yeah, just who I am.
But how fun is what you've been doing? Your role on this team. How fun has it been for the last several years?
It's been good. I mean, it's been my fourth and final year down here, and I've enjoyed every part of it. Good group of guys every year, good coaches, good fans. I just love it down here in the South.
And Alexi, obviously a long way from home for you. This is year 3 now, right?
Yes, year 3.
How has it been so far now? Just obviously you were on here last year, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So just how more comfortable are you now in year 3 down here in Mobile?
It's obviously become a home of mine. There's friends and people here that just show me tremendous amount of love, and the atmosphere is something that every time I get back here, I'm always welcomed, and I do love it here. Year 3 is it's been a big year. There's a lot of highs and lows, but definitely I always see things as you just develop, you just get better, and it's been very good. It's been very good to me.
Let's talk about the mindset, though, of being a special teams player, because if you're a linebacker, if you're a right tackle, whatever it may be, you've got the next play, and the next play's coming 30 seconds later, right? For you guys, though, it's hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, and then all of a sudden it's go time. So talk about the mindset, and Anthony, we'll start with you, the mindset that you have to have as a specialist.
Yeah, I mean, our motto Coach Ponio has is one shot, one kill, because, like you just said, we don't have another opportunity. You got that one play. So, it's just staying ready, because we go 3 quarters and not punt or kick, and then kick 4 times in a row. So it's just having that mental toughness to stay locked in for a big duration of that time.
And is it tough to do that, or is that just that's life and that's how you do it?
Yeah, that's our job. You just got to be very, comfortable, and you got to be precise with your work. And every time you take the field, you just you got to be able to know what you're doing and do your job. That's it.
We'll back up here a couple of weeks here for you, Anthony, but we had our 9/11 run in the stadium, and you were
Yes,
heavily
sir.
involved with that. Just kind of talk about how much that event meant to you.
Yeah, Delancey set up a great thing. I was very happy to be there for like the first big one, 'cause I know they've done it in the past, but first time it's opened up to the public, and Delancey did a great job setting that up. Felt good to be part of that.
And I can attest that there's a lot of steps in,
Yeah.
in that stadium.
Yeah, that was a Thursday, so we had a Thursday practice after that, and me and our other snapper backs returner did it. So that was definitely a tougher practice after. Very tired, but got through it.
But a week where we didn't play last week now, just for both of you guys, just how excited are you just to get back out there and play another football game?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I'm really taking in, it's my last year of 3 games left, so just trying to take it all in and enjoy all of it.
Not thinking too much about next week's senior day, right?
Yeah, I mean, trying to go 1 week at a time,
There you
but
go.
yeah,
There you go.
take it all in.
But Alexa, you're ready to get back out there, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's still 3 games to go. I mean, that's a lot of football games to be played, and for me, it's that the ability to play is a huge blessing, because like I remember my freshman season, obviously, wasn't doing very well and was not, with the team, and seeing these games that I missed in my freshman season, now being able to, be the starter and go play, I mean, that's, I can't take it for granted. And every time we go and on the road and wherever we travel to, it's a huge blessing, and get to do what I love to do and live my dream. So, yeah.
Let's go 10 years ago. Would you have ever imagined yourself in
Where was
Mobile,
I 10
Alabama,
years ago?
playing American football, and you're going to be the starting punter?
I actually started football in 2015.
Is that right?
I was a wide receiver at first, but yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about college football back then. I was just, the first thing was like NFL and all that. But fast forward 2-3 years ago, and that's my exchange student year, 2018. That's where my dream for college football began, and this is it. So obviously, I'm living the dream.
All right, so what was Alexei Polkinen wide receiver? What was that like?
Oh gosh, man! I mean, I was a tall, lanky kid, and it just put me on the field, try to Hail Mary and give me the ball, which I 50-50 caught it. So.
All right, so now Major's sitting right behind you. So just here's your plea right now. Hey,
I know.
let me have a shot, right?
No, I know. I've told many of the coaches, like, well, actually I was a wide receiver at first, and it's funny, even the players, and tell them, like, that's how I started. Actually, it wasn't kicking, but I'm glad I'm not a wide receiver, because I wouldn't.
It's a tough job.
It is a tough job. But I do love what I'm doing right now.
Anthony Zaccaro and Alexei Polkinen joining us down here at Walk-Ons. Guys, appreciate your time as always. Appreciate you coming down here.
Thank you so much.
Let's go get another win this weekend.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you.
All right, Anthony Zaccaro and Alexei Polkinen join us down here at Walk-Ons. Take a quick timeout. Head coach Major Applewhite will join us when we come back. Appreciate assistant coach Eric Ponio and specialist Anthony Zaccaro and Alexei Polkinen joining us down here at Walk-Ons. Now get to catch up with head coach Major Applewhite. Coach, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. Oh, there we go. Hope I turned your right microphone on. There we go.
I do have a voice. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. Good to have that off week, though.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned it earlier
Say
this
off
week.
Yeah.
non-opponent
No,
week.
Right,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Not like you guys were just sitting around doing nothing,
No,
right?
just a little recruiting here and there. Just portal things get ready to open about a month and a half.
Yeah, gosh, that's a whole other ball of wax. But
That's
just you mentioned earlier this week that this is late in the year to have a traditional bye week that we've got. It makes it pretty hard from a roster management. I hate the word load management, but kind of in that case, it's kind of what we're dealing with a little bit, right?
It's the reality of it. It's kind of funny because I've been to those Destin meetings with the Sunbelt coaches for the last 2 years, and you're just kind of sitting in there and you're listening to these other head coaches kind of talk to Commissioner Gill, and they're bitching about their schedule, and you're like, what's everybody bitching about? Why is everybody so upset about this? And then you realize, like, oh, okay,
I get it now.
I see what they're talking about. A bye week in week 10. It's tough. I mean, people try to justify it. All right, you got 9 days for this game and 10 games for this day. It's really about the joints, the pounding on the body, and just having a week where you can take off is tremendous. So, it's good for the mind as well.
But what are some of the things that you guys did? Because you do get a chance to get the younger guys involved, but you also don't want to let the older guys just sit and not do anything.
Yeah, I'm not trying to go too in depth with this,
Yeah.
but it's a different world now. You're not allowed 125 guys on your roster anymore.
Right.
So the whole idea of, hey, halfway through the season, let's go out there and have a scrimmage with all the younger guys, and if 8 of them get hurt, we still got enough guys to go practice with. No, you're at 105 guys now. You got 85 guys on scholarship. You got 20 walk-ons. If you ding those guys up, who the hell are you going to practice against to get ready for the next 3 games? So you got to be smart about what you're doing. Now, we did go out there and we did get some of those guys reps, but we didn't go full live tackle and cutting people and tearing ACLs and high ankle sprains and all that, but we gave them plenty of reps and then went out there and thudded. Got to get a chance to get some of the freshmen who've been, there's 1,000 names, but guys like Keith Bibbins, who's on the offensive line, guys like Devin White, who's on the offensive line, some of the young wide receivers, Singleton Mims, they're from Baldwin County, Jeremiah, some of those guys who haven't been playing as much, got a chance to get them out there, kind of wrinkle them a little bit and do some drills. But really the main goal, JT, is when you have that off week this late in the season, it's like, what do we need to get done? Like, what do we need to go on the field? And you hate to say it like this, but what do we need to expose ourselves to possible injuries that we need to get done, that we have to get done? Okay, we need to get better at this. We need to do this on special teams. We need to work on this on offense. We need to work on this in defense. Anything else? Well, we could work on that. Do we need to work on that? Because you're exposing your team, and you've got 3 more games left.
You mentioned so many of those new names in there with that new 4-game redshirt rule. You can rotate in there and not burn the eligibility year. But just when does that conversation start of who are we going to mix in there at the end of the year?
It's every week. We go over it red, yellow, green. There's guys that are full go. There's no intention whatsoever of redshirting these guys. There's guys that are red that absolutely were redshirting this guy. Usually that happens at the bigger positions, where guys come in offensive line, defensive line, need a year to acclimate from high school. And then you've got these guys that are in the yellow group that are, he played in this game late against Morgan State. He's got 3 left. Let's be wise about when we use them. We don't really need them. Don't use them. Let's keep his red shirt. And then you get to this part of the season, you say, well, we've got 3 left and he's only played 1. Play him. Why would we not play him? It's only going to help him understand how he needs to get underneath that bar in the weight room, how he needs to eat, how he needs to study for the next 8 months to go impact our team next year.
And so you do all that, and then, oh, by the way, here we start Monday, and it's game week again, and you're back to normal. So how has the Monday, the Tuesday of this week been?
Monday and Tuesday were good. I thought they were really good. And I thought Wednesday today was good on defense. We didn't practice particularly well on offense, and I'm over there mostly watching them, but I go back in and I watch our defense on film, and I talk to Will and some other coaches and kind of get a feel for it. And watching the practice, I thought we had a good practice on defense. Offensively, just didn't execute well enough today. There were some bright spots. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't all total garbage, but there was just some things on 3rd down and red zone that we've got to clean up tomorrow.
It was a little cooler earlier in the week. Did that, sometimes I can give the guys a little bit of a wake-up call. Was a little juice there with the cold?
Yeah, kind of as the BMI goes up, like people are happier. As the body fat goes down, people are sad that it's cold. But yes, Monday and Tuesday was a little cold out there, chilly, whatever you want to call it. But we talked about it in the meeting room and still had good practices regardless. And that's what I told them. I was like, none of us want to get on a bus Friday and drive 5 hours and think about, man, the weather's now 75. It's nice. I wish I would have prepared better on Monday, Tuesday, and not let the elements get to my head. We're going to play on that preparation. So we have to go out there, and they did. They I don't want to make it seem like some insurmountable task. I mean, what was it, 50?
Right.
But
that's cold for us though.
Yeah, I mean it is. But they all practiced well. They were fine. They went out there, did a really good job Monday and Tuesday. Like I said, today was a good practice. There were some bright spots, but there were some things that we got to clean up offensively.
We got a chance to talk with Anthony Zaccaro, Alexi Polkin, and talk about just those guys particularly, and then the specialists as a whole, because you talk a lot about offense, you talk a lot about defense, but special teams is a make or break type of. That's a third of the game.
Well, I mean, kind of how you play is kind of who you are, right? And they're very high character, very dependable. So they take a lot of pride in what they do, and they spend a lot of time. And specialists are often, kind of working on their own and doing things kind of out of eyesight of the rest of the team. But you see it, It comes to fruition 12 Saturdays, and they do a tremendous job of working on their own. And what I mean by that is, you're obviously using the entire field, so these guys disappear to another field and may practice their squib kicks, may practice their short snap, their deep snap, this type of rollout punt, this type of pooch punt. and they're working by themselves a lot. You know, they are. They're working by themselves a lot, and then they come together with the team on a Thursday, and everybody kind of sees some of the work that they do. But them personally, just kind of the people they are, you know, that lends to what kind of players they are. But very dependable. I have all the faith in the world. When I watch those guys go out there, I'm like, they're going to go execute. I don't worry about those two at all, and because they spend so much time and they care about it.
And Anthony in particular, you know, he's basically throwing upside-down passes and then going to make tackles.
Right.
I mean, that takes a special type of person to be able to be a long snapper.
Yes, it does, and it's a hard job, and it's one of those jobs that everybody takes for granted until they see it done wrong.
Right.
You know, and everybody is this is just kind of given, right? That this guy can throw this thing back here in less than 0.9 seconds to put it right on the right hip with a punter, and then snap his head up and go try to make a play. And it's a difficult skill, you know, and it's a difficult skill to do what Lex does. Everybody's like, all he's got to do is catch it and kick it. Well, yeah, he's got to catch it, but he's got to kick it at a certain angle. He's got to kick it behind a certain guy. He's got to put it at a certain location on the field. But those guys practice the heck out of it, you know. And so when you hear guys like, man, he got a hold of that one, it's like, yeah, you know how hard and how long he's worked at doing that. You know, when you're watching those balls, I remember specifically the LSU game last year. Lexi had one of his better games, and you know, all you're thinking is, man, this SEC returner is like, oh, gosh, you know, let's get this guy down. And he got him to the sideline the whole night. You know, I don't think there was a single punt that Lex had outside of the numbers. So he was pinning this guy to the sideline. So they just spend an incredible amount of time, and it's a hard football play. You know, punt is a hard football play. I remember when I was a GA at Texas, our defensive line coach ran the punt team. And he said, Mage, this is the hardest play in all of football. And I said, what do you mean, Coach Tyler? He goes, think about it. You got to get some walk-on guy that couldn't get a scholarship. He's got to put his head between his legs. He's got to snap the ball 15 yards back. Then you got another guy that's probably not on a scholarship, probably played soccer his whole life. He's got to catch the ball. Then he's got to punt it, and then we got to go down and tackle the SOB. You know, it is one of the more unique snaps in football, but they make it look easy. And their operation, you know, that's one thing that people don't know is those things are timed. You know, and your operation as a punt, you know, from snap to ball off the foot should be, you know, typically a little bit less than 2 seconds. Most people are trying to shoot for that 1.9, 1.95 area, and these guys have gotten off as fast as 1.65, 1.7, 1.75, which is a tremendous advantage because those other teams have stopwatches too. And so when they watch your film and they see how fast your operation is, in some cases they're like, you know what, it's not worth going after this punt. We can't get there with that time, and if we do get there with that time, we're going to be out of control, and we're going to give them a first down. We're going to run into them. So, you know, I appreciate how hard they've worked at their skill.
Well, Coach, we'll take a quick timeout. We'll start previewing the Warhawks of ULM here when we come back. Jags Live, presented by Eco South Services, continues in a moment. Back down here at Walk-Ons. It's Jags Live, presented by Eco South Services. Let's preview our matchup here this weekend. We'll hit the road to take on the Warhawks of ULM at 2:30 from Malone Stadium. And, you know, Coach, they've had a bunch of injuries at a lot of spots. We're talking specialists. They've had injuries at kicker. They haven't made a kick from anybody since early October. But, I mean, there's a case in point right there just how important special teams are.
100%. That's every time you take the field on special teams, it's field position points and momentum. And that's what's traded on those plays. And, you know, we've had our own issues, you know, this year a couple times with you know, being able to put yourself in a position to score points and take momentum in ball games. And you have to make those plays. And when you can't lean on that, it's difficult. It changes your whole mindset in terms of what you call offensively and what you might be doing defensively.
And there's familiarity on that roster. Obviously, Bryant Vincent used to be a coach at South Alabama. You know, Braylon McReynolds obviously used to be a running back. He's going to be running against us. Does that help? Does that hurt? Or do you
I
even
mean, I
pay
think
attention to
it helps our players in terms of understanding exactly how someone plays on the field. You know, because they've had to try to tackle Braylon, so they understand. You know, as opposed to, you know, trust me, guys, this guy's really quick. You know, I recruited him out of high school, but he went to this place. Like, everybody's like, all right, I guess we'll trust you, Coach. You know, you don't have to. Y'all tried to tackle him, right? You know, I mean, you know what kind of back he is. You know what kind of player he is. You know how they run the ball. I mean, it's you know, it's testimony instead of theory. They've done it, you know.
We've got a pretty dynamic running game over there with Braylon mixed in there, but also just they throw some funky stuff at you offense. We saw it last year. They did the little pitch to Hunter Herring as a second quarterback out there. They've shown some three quarterback looks out there at times. Just from a preparation standpoint, how hard is it just kind of clip, all right, they do this, but they also do this, and okay, they got kind of that too.
Yeah, at some point you just have to trust your eyes and your fall camp rules. Like we talked a little bit maybe 2 weeks ago. Just you can chase ghosts.
Yeah.
You got to go with the majority, and this is their fastball. This is their changeup. This is their curveball. Let's sit on the fastball and the changeup. They don't throw the curveball very much, and I think I've seen them throw 2 knuckleballs. You don't sit on those pitches. You sit on what you see the most, and that's what you swing your bat at. And so that's the same thing defensively. Like, what do they do the most? What is their bread and butter? What are their things off of their bread and butter? What is their misdirection off of this? What's their play action off of this? And then you have to hope that your eyes and your natural rules, keep you in tune to what you need to see and how the plays you need to make. Same thing offensively. There's going to be something new in every game. There always is. And your base rules should carry you through. Every once in a while people can attack your rules, and then you've got to adjust in game. But it's kind of like Peyton Manning said, in halftime we just ate oranges. There's no real in-game adjustments. That's a lie. It's 12 minutes. No, the reality of it is you can get hit with some things that you're just not anticipating on game day. But that's the beauty of the iPads now and getting on the sideline and making those adjustments.
And defensively, especially up front, this is a very good ULM team that we're going to face.
Yeah, big up front. Very big. About 650 pounds between the two of their inside guys. So 6'4", 310. 6'5", 325, a lot of size inside. Their defensive ends do a great job. Cavante, number 5, forgot him, he's from Kaufman, Texas, but played a lot of ball there. Their inside backers, they have one of their starters injured, but he should probably be back. So they've got their 3 rotating backers. Their safeties are physical. Bontroy, he might be back by now, the kid from Spanish Fort, good player. But they do a really good job up the middle on their defense. And I'm not saying their corners aren't good either. Their corners are good too. But they're very stout inside. Big bodies. They will move some, but really they're trying to take on double teams and hold the line of scrimmage and let those backers run free.
It seems like just overall as a team, they got kind of a blue-collar personality to them, just kind of grit and just kind of get after it is what it seems on the outside at least. Do you guys see that on film?
That's because they're from Louisiana, JT.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
People
That's
are
true.
like that in that state.
That's right.
What I mean?
You know a little something about that.
Absolutely. No. They do have a lot of grit, and they played hard. They played well in some certain games, and they, just like us, they've had some games where they haven't played so well. And they're sitting there at 3-6, and they've got to win 3 ball games to go to a bowl. And so we're one of the teams that they have to try to go through. It's senior day. They've got the whole families out there, the Roses, the whole thing, and they're going to be highly motivated to play. I remember it's very similar to where we were in 2021. With the hopes if we run this table, we can get into a bowl game. So that's great. That's their motivation. I'm not trying to create any bulletin board material. That's their motivation. We want to go to a bowl. We were close last year. We were 5-1 to start the season and didn't finish the season the way we needed to go to a bowl game. And now it's our opportunity to finish it the right way. And for us, it's about going win a ball game on the road, trying to create momentum to the next game in Southern Miss at home, and then try to run the table out and create momentum into the offseason.
Yeah, and what do you want to see from our guys? I mean, is it an attitude thing? Is it a physical thing? Is it just, look, we're here to play football, and let's play it to the best of our ability because we can?
Yeah, all those things. Simply win. I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but just win. I want to see us play winning football across the board and give ourselves an opportunity instead of getting our own way. I felt like we gave ourselves a chance at times 2 weeks ago. But you get down there to the inch line, you can't score, you don't give yourself a chance. There's other things. I don't like to go back and talk about the past from 2 weeks ago, but we didn't give ourselves a chance down the stretch. And early in the ball game defensively, we didn't play well enough and dug ourselves such a hole there at the end of the first half by allowing another touchdown before the half to make it 24-7. That's really was, I don't want to say it was the nail in the coffin because we came back, but it's hard to come from 17 down at half. You hold that thing to 17-7 and you go out and score. It's a different second half. It's a different feel. But I want to see us get out of our own way. I want to see us continue to play with great effort and physicality. This week, tackling is going to be extremely important, just like last, because the quality of backs with, Bill, last week and their quarterback lunch, and it's going to be no different this week. They got a host of backs. Backs a little bit different. Braylon can make you miss in a phone booth. And one thing that it's kind of underrated about him is his strength. I've seen him get underneath a lot of weight in the weight room. He's a strong-bodied person, so even if you can catch up with his moves, you still have to get him to the ground. He's got a low center of gravity and a good power base, so tackling is going to be huge. So what I want to see from us, I want to see the same effort, same physicality. I want to see us tackle better. I want to see us score in the red zone.
Well, checked all the boxes right there for us, Coach.
Go get it.
Coach, as always, appreciate it. We'll see you out there at 2:30.
Absolutely. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Jeff.
Y'all have a good night.
Head coach Major Applewhite join us down here at Walk-Ons. We'll come back in just a moment, wrap up the show. All right, catch up with Coach Major Applewhite before we hit the road this weekend to take on ULM. And again, another programming note for you. If you missed it the first part of the show. No show next week. We've got a conflict with men's basketball on the road at Jacksonville State, so we'll be back at it for the final show of the year, Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yep, 2 weeks from today. So one more show.
One more show.
From here at Walk-Ons. But it's been great. Been great to be down here, and look forward to doing it again next year. But, look, we've got 3 games left.
Yep.
3 winnable games. And, we'll talk much more about Southern Miss coming up in a week and a half.
Yep.
But we've got to get through ULM first. But we really want people to come out for that Southern Miss game. That's it's always going to be a big deal, period, no matter who's doing well and who's not doing well. But considering the fact that Southern Miss is where they are, we got a chance to make ULM not bowl eligible anymore this week, and then let's knock Southern Miss out of a conference championship.
Boy, I would just hate that. No, I wouldn't. I would love that.
A lot of motivation to do a lot of good things here in the next couple of weeks.
Yep, and that's a great point, too, you bring up that next week is the final home game of the season. So it's a big one against a regional rival in Southern Miss. They're going to come in here, I'm sure, all fired up. They're having a good year. They've never defeated us, ever, in football. So looking to keep that rolling. You can get tickets online right now, usajaguars.com/tickets, and we'll find out the kickoff time. Oh, no, we do have the kickoff time of that. It's 2:30.
2:30, yes.
Yep.
And they're going to bring a fan base. There's going to be a lot of black and gold in there. So that's, again, a week and a half from now. Let's focus on ULM and go get that win this weekend.
That's right. It's 2:30 kickoff here this weekend. 12:30 pregame on the Jags Radio Network from Malone Stadium on Saturday when South Alabama takes on ULM. For Pat, I'm JT. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Jay's up. Go Jags.